O'Connor here again. How are you? So, I wanted to talk today about the real reasons that people don't start a podcast, right? Because when you Google how to start a podcast, you come up with all this stuff about, what microphone you need, which platform to set up, and that is really important. But let's face facts. Going off my own personal experience, the real reason that it took me so long to start a podcast, took me about 6 months in the end, which might not be that long, but, it did still take me a fair while. But the real reason was fear. It wasn't, and it was fear about all different things. And there are 10 fears that we can come up. Actually, there's probably more than that. But I'm going to go through the top 10 fears that come up for people when they're starting a podcast. Number one, the big one, is fear of putting yourself out there. What are people going to think of you? What are they going to say? Oh my goodness, what if I say something and people make fun of me? I remember one lady, right? She was doing videos on Facebook and she got torn into this particular day because somebody didn't like her makeup. It's like, really? Get a life. There's going to be people like that. And the important thing to remember is that fear's never going to go away. It's always going to be there. You are never going to be able to work on yourself to the point where you are not going to have some fear about what people will think about you. It's always going to be there. So there's no point in delaying any longer. The next one is that nobody will listen to your podcast. Especially, I think, even if you're a business person and you've got something really important to talk about, you just want to talk to your clients and your customers about how to use the products the best way. Say you do what are they called? Essential oils. You sell the essential oils in a network marketing company. It's really important for your clients to know how to use those oils and the best way to use them. But it's very inefficient to be going around and telling everybody individually, this is how you use this oil, or this oil really helps in that. A much more efficient way is to talk about it on a podcast or a video like this one and explain to people so they can go back to it. And then you can direct all of your customers and all of your network's customers to your video channel, to your audio channel, to listen to the benefits of using neroli oil, essential oil, what is it called? Sweet orange, I think it's called, whatever. It's so important. But the fear is, what if I do that? What if I put all that effort into it and nobody listens? People will listen. Even if it's only 10 people, you've made a difference. And that's the big thing. If you only make a difference in one person's world, you've made a difference in one person's world. And is it worth the effort? I think that's the only way you can look on it. And basically, don't let that fear stop you either. The next one is the fear that people will disagree with you and tell you that you're talking rubbish. They probably will. Somebody will always have an opinion about what you say, and that's actually fine. You don't have to argue with them. You don't have to take it on board. Just because they don't agree with you or they believe something else is no reason for you not to say this, because I guarantee that other people will agree with what you're saying. So you standing up and saying it gives them the confidence and the comfort to know that somebody else thinks in the same way that they do. You are taking a stand for other people by standing up there and saying, this is what I think, this is what I believe, and these are the reasons why. Don't let anybody put you off. Number 4 is imposter syndrome, the fear of being found out. What if everybody finds out that you actually don't know what you're talking about? And all of this is just fluff, and you're not really an expert because you don't have a PhD in it, and your mother knew more than you did, and that person who, your upline or your old boss that you used to work with knew way more than you will ever know. All of those things. Yeah, that's true. But what you have to say is really important, because only you can say it from your perspective. And don't denigrate yourself by feeling that you're not an expert in something. This thing about you need to do something for 10,000 hours before you become an expert, it's kind of not true. I don't think it's true anyway. My observation is it's not true. That might be true in a field, in an academic field or a scientific field, not necessarily true anywhere else. So people will disagree with you. People may call you a fraud. They may tell you that because you didn't know this one tiny little thing, it doesn't make you an expert. It's not true. Just keep going. And kind of following on from that is this fear of people not liking you. Oh my goodness, I know this one, right? Look at myself, and I've been doing this for 3.5 years now, right? I still do not like editing or looking at my own videos or listening to my podcast. I don't like it. I don't like the way I sound. I don't like the way I move. I look at myself and go, what was my hair thinking that day? Like this morning, it's just not gone right. And what are people going to say? And I never wear makeup, so I'm going to get criticized for that because all the other gorgeous people on YouTube, they all look fantastic. I'll particularly if you go to Instagram, right? So what are people going to think of me? They're not going to like me. Yeah, some people won't, some people will. So again, the fear, all of these fears, everything that I'm talking about is never going to go away, but it shouldn't be the reason for you to not do something, because that's just the way of the world. You are whole, complete and perfect. And I'm going off on a really personal development tangent here, but we're all perfect in our own way. So just go start your podcast or your video channel. Just leave the fear behind. And kind of mixed in with that, I kind of covered this in the last one, but it's that hating the way you sound and the way you look, and that fear, concern that you don't look perfect, that you don't look like that person, that comparison thing going on. You don't like, somebody once said to me that I don't have a voice for radio. I don't. And I cackle, right? I cackle. And then I start screeching when I get excited. And that's actually, I say that's fine. I still don't like it, but it's not a reason for me not to get behind the camera and start talking to people, because that's my opinion. It's nobody else's. So just irrelevant. Just let it go. Kind of mixed in with that is this concern that you're going to get it wrong and you're going to make mistakes like I just did. You will. I know people who have such a fear of making mistakes that they're almost incapacitated. They are terrified of doing anything new in case they get it wrong and in case they make a mistake, particularly in public. We've all had to get over this. We all make mistakes. And I think it makes, for me, as I've gotten older, I've come to the conclusion that it just makes us more human and it makes us more approachable and relatable. So if you do have a business and you are trying to lead a team and you are trying to talk to your clients, it's great that and I'm not talking about making massive mistakes like saying something that's illegal or completely wrong, but stuffing up, like forgetting what you're going to say or forgetting the terminology or anything. Hello, welcome menopause. We forget things all the time, and it gives other people permission to feel like it's okay to not be perfect when we're not perfect ourselves. I'm a big believer in that. And this has really helped me to go with that, to not have that. And I'll tell you what, just that not having to be perfect all the time is so freeing, and it makes life so much more enjoyable. So you're going to make mistakes. Just embrace it. It's fine. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean you can't do this. Doesn't mean you're bad at your job. Doesn't mean anything. Just means you're human. It's all good. The other kind of fears that we have, apart from fears about ourselves, is the fear of taking on more responsibility. I mean, we've all got so much going on in our lives, right? The last thing we want to do is take on yet something else to do that's going to take up more time. We got to learn all that stuff. We got to sort it all out. We got to spend all these hours doing things. It'll take up too much time and money. It'll cost too much. I can't afford to pay it. That is where you do have to weigh up the pros and cons. In terms of business expansion and reach, a podcast or a video channel, and I mean, I'd do both if I were you, but having a podcast or a business channel is the most effective way of reaching more people for the least amount of time. It is way more effective than going doing presentations or going to a business networking meeting, because you are introducing yourself to people on a very personal level in a way that makes them like and trust you. They get to know you, so they can know your personality. They know your mannerisms. So by the time they get to you, they're already sold on who you are. You don't need to do anything. So it's so much more efficient, an efficient use of your time to set up a podcasting channel and a YouTube channel than it is to go to any other thing, unless you're doing conferences in front of several thousand people, because anybody can pick up your podcast at any time. So you can use it on all your social media, on your website, on your business card, hand it out, just let people know that you've got a podcast. That's the one thing that you want to promote, because that's the fastest way of reaching more people than you ever thought possible. So is it worth it? Absolutely. And there are ways, if you've got a little bit of money, pay somebody to set it all up and do the editing and all that kind of thing. It's not that expensive. And as an efficient use of your time and money, it's better than almost any other marketing. Seriously. I kind of covered fear number 9, which is fear about all the new things you've got to learn in the last one. When we start podcasting or start anything new, there's so much to learn. How to set everything up, which platforms to use, which microphone to use, how to make sure the lighting's right, how to make sure your sound's good, all the other apps that you've got to use, everything. And we don't necessarily want to put anything else in our brain. My suggestion is two things. Go to somewhere, rather than scooting around the internet and trying to find all this information. Go and do something like the Speak Up Podcasting Academy, because that will take you through everything step by step, and it tells you what to do when, tells you where to go, which apps to use, which equipment to use, all of that kind of thing. Go do something like that. Or second, if you want to make the best use of your time, is get somebody else to do it for you, such as Speak Up. Get somebody to do everything apart from record it. So all you have to do is sit down and record, and that's it. That would be my suggestion, and that helps you release that fear of having to learn something new. And the final fear is the fear that you've missed the boat. It's too late. There's so many other podcasts out there. What's the point? I've had more than one person say this to me. The point is, that's like saying, oh, what's the point in setting up a Facebook account or doing Google ads, because there's so many of them out there now, it's just not worth it. Like, seriously? Are you actually serious? This is the way, the most effective way of getting people to know who you are, establishing your credibility, setting yourself as the authority in your field. It is not too late. It is not. Do you want to be number 1 on the charts? Probably not. Do you want to give your customers and potential customers, or friends and family, or other people that are interested in the same thing as you, a place to go, which gives them a great set of resources? Absolutely. It is never too late to start, and you have not missed the boat. So I hope you took something away from today. All of the links to Speak Up are down below, and there is a freebie download on how to start your podcast today for free. So go and click on that link and sign up for that and download that, And I'll see you next time. Have a lovely day.